Hey everybody, Aaron Blaze here, and welcome to our monthly First Friday screening. We've gone down to once a month, and so here we are, April 7th, and we are on our first Friday, and we're having a great time. It's going to be a good day today. I decided to go in and we had this green screen set up, so now we got all kinds of stuff that can show behind us. We had a great stream last Friday, a special stream with our friend Ronnie Williford and Eric Grant, and we were promoting Ronnie's brother's book on Ronnie's brother, Hollis Williford. And we got this whole thing set up, and so we thought we'd use it again. And we're going to take you through all of I just dug up a ton of sketchbooks from the last 30 years. So I thought it might be fun to kind of take you through a little walk down memory lane. And but before we do that, we got some housekeeping stuff we want to talk about. We've got Nick Birch with us. We got Dustin Blaze with us.
Hello.
And they're gonna talk to you about some of our sales going on.
Yes, over at Creature Art Teacher, we've got a bunch of stuff going on. First of all, we just put out 3 new bundles on the website. Bundles from Ken Sperduso, David Coleman, and Tony Cipriano, who now has 3 ZBrush courses. His superhero course is 35 hours long.
That's ridiculous. Who would ever make a class that long?
Yeah.
What an idiot.
That's,
How many hours?
yeah, right. It's a great course though, because he takes you all through human anatomy, stylized human anatomy of male and female figures in a digital sculpting and ZBrush, and then he takes you all the way through how to make toys out of that and articulation.
Yeah,
Anyway,
Tony's stuff is awesome.
yeah, those 3 bundles can save you up to 60% off or more. Go check those out. And while you're there, we've actually got our biggest sale of the year happening right now over at Creature Art Teacher. We've got
It's huge.
yeah, the advanced animation course is just $1. Jenny Medved's painting course is $5. Your charcoal course is $1. We've got the creature art the creature design and acting for animation courses are down to their lowest price ever, just $5 each. And right now, you can get $100 off memberships, which gets you everything on the website to keep. And that ends Monday on that. So hurry up and take advantage of that deal. CreatureArtTeacher.com. This is our biggest sale of the year. There's tons more on sale as well. Not a lot more than what we just mentioned there.
And we're close to 700 hours worth of content now, right?
Yeah, actually, we're probably over it, but I'm still saying.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. The other thing too, I just want to mention really quick. One of the reasons we went to one Friday a month is because I needed to get more time working on Snow Bear, our current 2D animated short that we're doing. And if you want to catch more live streams, then become a member at creatureartteacher.com. So not only will you have access to all of the content that we have, but you'll be able to tune in twice a week, every Tuesday and Thursday, as I'm making Snow Bear. We have a great community every week. And we just did one yesterday, and it's always a lot of fun. It's 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time until whenever I decide to stop. Usually it's around noon, but sometimes we'll go longer. And I'm making the cartoon. I'm making Snow Bear, and so it's like a little mini filmmaking class, really. And but like I said, it's a great community, and we talk about all kinds of stuff, and I give advice and teach, and it's great. So anyway,
All the fun stuff.
yeah. So let's go to the down shooter, Dustin.
And
There we are. Look, I can squeeze my head. All right, so I did find, I was going through, before I start with the sketchbooks, I've had a lot of people ask me about my internship with Disney and what my portfolio was. Well, I found some of the reproductions from my portfolio. These are at least some of the animal drawings I did. So these are from March 7th, 1988. So that's 35 years ago. So these are the oldest drawings I have in here that you're going to see today. So these are from 35 years ago. I sat as this little second-year art student at Ringling College of Art and Design, madly trying to put together a little portfolio of drawings so that I could get accepted into the internship at Walt Disney. Feature animation. They had never done an internship like this with students outside of the animation program. And lucky for me, I was accepted, learned animation, and that was 35 years ago, and I was hooked ever since. So in July of that year, June and July, I did my internship. So these were zoo drawings, and then I'd go home and do more sketches, caricatures, and things like that of the animals that I sketched at the zoo. These are all pen drawings. Now, these are Xeroxes. I don't know what ever happened to the original drawings. But these are Xeroxes that I put together. Let me see if I can slide that over. There we go. And this was the animal section. I can't find I did human figure stuff as well, but I don't have those. But these are the animals. And like I said, these are all just ballpoint pen in my sketchbook, and just did piles and piles of drawings.
And none of them use the pencil first and then use.
No, these are just straight pen. Just straight ballpoint pen, and that was it. And then it was these and about 10 figure drawings that got me into my internship. That was it, and the rest is history.
Someone on YouTube says, I wasn't even born. I was only 8.
Yeah, Nick was 8 years old, and it's 3 years before Dustin was born, or 2.5 years. And
who reviewed your portfolio?
What's that?
Do you remember who reviewed your portfolio?
No, well, it was the whole review board. So let me adjust this really quick. Oh, I got it. I got it right there. All right. So
got it.
So this is my oldest sketchbook that I have. I've had other ones, but they've gone by the wayside. This thing is taped together, and
Spine is gone.
yeah. So this is from May of 1993. That's when I started the sketchbook. This was my first trip to Alaska, my very first trip to Alaska. And I was 25 years old, and it was a life-changing experience for me. And you'll see, back in the day, I used to be and I still do it somewhat when I travel. I was very, very adamant about sketching, but also keeping a journal. I would write about what's going on that day, what my emotions were, all that kind of stuff. And it really is great because it's like writing in your diary, right? You go back, 20, or in this case, 30 years later, and you can read exactly what was happening in those days. And so all of these were done in ballpoint pen and then watercolor over the top. And I had a little Cotman field kit watercolor set that I would take with me. And sometimes there were just little scribbles, but it was all about writing down the experiences. And my animal drawing 30 years ago was not that great. I loved animal drawing, but I still had a lot to learn. And so you can see how different my drawings were 30 years ago compared to where they are now. But,
not sure why, but people keep saying my mic is low, which is weird because I'm hitting the same levels on the board as you. I can't figure out why that would be.
I don't know.
What about you, Dustin?
I think you and I are on the same level, but Dad does seem to be on the louder side.
Yeah, but we shouldn't be that much quieter. I don't know why, because it's literally turned up on the board all the way.
All the way.
Okay, well, we'll figure it out. I'll just keep going through here and talking.
Yeah, you keep going.
So and once again, these are all wild. These are all wild animals. These weren't zoo animals. These are all, caribou and moose that we came across up in Alaska, in the wilds. This was mostly all in Denali National Park in central Alaska. And I wrote a note here. The land here is awesome. You can't draw the animal without it. They're so much a part of each other. I was always inspired, and I had to, write down these things. I feel very overwhelmed with everything I'm seeing. It's such a different world from Florida. I could live here.
A whole new world.
Yes. 1993. So this is, I did this in between working on Aladdin and The Lion King. So in between those projects, we went on this trip. And it was Rick Sluter, who was the art director on Mulan, and Bob Stanton, who unfortunately has since passed away. And they were both background painters. And this painting right here, this is a little sunset watercolor. We hiked up to the top of this mountain, and I did this painting at midnight, I believe.
Midnight?
Yes, because we were up, way north, and so it never got dark. It stayed light. The sun was just setting, and it was 12:30, I think.
That must really.
Oh no, 11:30. That's why I did this painting at 11:30. And right here, I was showing Dustin earlier. There's a little There's a little speck right there, and it says "Gotcha," and it's a 30-year-old smushed mosquito. He was biting me, and that's all the blood. That's 30-year-old blood inside inside the book. But yeah, I know.
So somebody extracted that DNA out of you, they could make a clone out of you.
Yeah, exactly. But, a lot of the sketches were, looking at the scrub and the tundra and just sketching the animal right into it. There's a grizzly bear that I was looking at this grizzly bear through a scope and sitting on the side of this dirt road and drawing him as he was down in this riverbed and he was flipping rocks looking for grubs and food and things like that. And so I just sketched him as he did that. Lots and lots of this was a sketch right here that turned into a big oil painting that later became part of Brother Bear later on. So used that years later. And this is a little Arctic redpoll songbird that I found on the side of the road that had been killed, hit by a car. So I pulled it aside and did a little sketch.
Very
But
unfortunate.
lots and lots of, and then it was all part of a class that we were in up in Alaska. So this is everybody signed my book afterwards. So I'm going to get through that. And then there's one last painting here of Alaska. Now we're back in Florida. And so you'll see, some people get so hung up about making sure every page is really good. Some pages are scribbled, some pages have watercolor. The sketchbook is there to jot down thoughts and ideas and observations and everything else. And that's what a lot of these are. This is in Captiva Island in Southwest Florida. Quick little observations sitting on the beach on the Gulf of Mexico. These tiny little watercolors that I would do. There's the kids, Austin and Dustin, playing in the water. That was in 1993.
Sketchbooks like
What's that?
Do you tend to finish your sketchbooks like all the way through?
No, and that's another thing I wanted to talk to you guys about. A lot of my sketchbooks that I've got here, they're not finished. They're all over the place. A couple of them only have a few pages done in them. And, I don't really, when I go out someplace, I'll just grab whatever sketchbook I can find and I just take off. I used to be very adamant about using the same sketchbook, but nowadays I just grab whatever I can draw on. Because for me, it's more about the act of drawing and if I'm out doing research or just drawing in general, it's the act of it that's solidifying ideas and that sort of thing. I don't usually go back to the sketches for any type of reference. I take a lot of photographs and then I sketch. This sketch right here, this is a grackle that flew into my window at Disney. And I think I was working on The Lion King. And I was in my office and I heard a boom right into the window. And I looked outside and this poor grackle was kind of stunned and sitting on the ground. So I went, oop, opportunity to draw. So I grabbed my sketchbook and ran outside and I kind of propped him upright because he was just kind of dazed and he just sat there and I drew him. And then right about the time I finished drawing him, he got his senses back and he flew off. But these were just some clouds sitting down on the edge of the lake. It was a beautiful kind of summer day and sketching clouds. Austin got attacked by wasps. I brought Austin with me. She was about 5. And she was sitting on a bench and got attacked by wasps. So that was the end of that painting.
I know. So you.
Oh, actually, I wrote about it just real quick. Well, we've been here at the south end of the lake for about 2 hours, and what do you know? Austin gets attacked by a swarm of wasps. She suffered 4 stings. Poor kid. Well, it was fun while it lasted. That's what I wrote.
I know. So you draw on all these different frames in your sketchbook, whether it be being bubbles around the.
Yeah, that was something I used to do a lot of.
And why did you start doing that, and how did it?
Because I tried to think of them as compositions, and so I would frame them first, and then I'd work out a composition with whatever was sitting in front of me, even if they were small little thumbnails. So it sometimes it worked. I kind of grew out of that. So, But these, then I started to fill pages. This is all just, going out at lunchtime at Disney. What we would do when we were working on films, at lunch, we would get out of the studio and just break away from the film, and we'd go out and we'd do our own sketching, drawing and painting. And we'd do that over lunchtime, and then we'd come back and get back to work. And so it was a great way to get extra work done. But you could see all the writing, just piles and piles of writing. And I was always writing about what was going on, what I was doing that day. This was at Merritt Island in East Florida, along the east coast of Florida, near Cape Canaveral.
We're not too far from that now, really.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a great place to paint wading birds, water birds. And so we'd go out there and I would sketch, especially in the wintertime, you get all these great migratory waterfowl coming in.
What's your process for these sorts of drawings? Do you draw the subject first and then fill in the landscape?
Well, if I'm doing landscape and the subject, I draw it all at once. But the process is doing the drawing first. All of them are done in ballpoint pen. There's no pencil in here. It's just all ballpoint pen. And then I paint over the top of it because it's just a regular Bic pen, and they're waterproof. So as soon as you put it down, you don't have to worry about it smearing. And they hold a really nice line. And so that's my process. This was an osprey, a fish hawk, that I found. It landed on a power line and got electrocuted. Oof. And I found it on the ground. Its foot and its tail had gotten blown off by the electricity, but it was still really malleable and everything. And it was in fairly good condition except for the foot and tail. So I brought it home and did this little anatomy study. And people ask me, how have I learned my anatomy over the years? It's by doing creepy things like this. Finding dead animals, looking and observing from life and all that, and really studying all of that and understanding it.
Tyler says, I took writing in my sketchbook straight from the game Red Dead Redemption 2. I'm glad I'm not the only one.
Yeah.
Our friend, actually, Darren Bader, was the art director for Red Dead Redemption 2, and he does that in his sketchbook, so that's probably why that's in that game.
Exactly.
Yeah, I've been playing.
And I don't mean to alarm you, Aaron, but there is a giant finger right to your right.
Yeah, I've been playing a lot of Red Dead Redemption 2 lately, and it is...
Oh, I'm going the wrong way.
Yeah, you gotta oh.
But down to you over here, Facebook asks, would you bring a smaller color palette with fewer colors typically?
Yes, I would. It usually had about how many did it have? It had 12, which is that's not too limited, but it had 12 little cakes in the Cotman field set. It had 12 colors in it.
Was it was it Glenn Vilppu that has the little Altoid can?
Yeah, exactly. These kind of like this one right here. These are some of my favorites. They're the simplest, and but they're super effective. It was a gray kind of rainy day, and I had a hard time with the watercolor because it kept bleeding and everything. But it created some great results and very moody. I don't know if you can. Does that go out of focus if I do that?
No, it's keeping it in focus.
So you get these really great moody images.
Yeah, that camera has autofocus, so you should be.
Yeah. What's the least amount of colors you've taken out in the field?
The least amount of what?
Of colors, like of the color cakes, or.
Oh, I don't know, because I always brought the same kit with me, so it was always 12.
12?
Yeah, always 12 colors. A little alligator sitting there. And here's a little example of the writing. So after the fog lifted, the sun came out in full force. The sun was very warm, and as usual, everything was alive. One of the highlights of the day was watching a bald eagle not too far off drop down and snatch a fish out of the water. The gator I painted was very large, 8 to 10 feet. He was out in the open water, just cruising along the edge of the marsh. When I saw him, I turned the canoe and lodged myself in some weeds so I could paint. As he swam by, I sketched. There are also quite a few bay ducks. I sketched a pair on the previous page, which is over here. These are scalps. They were very skittish, so I let the wind blow me into some weeds. I was about 50 to 60 yards away, so I sketched through binoculars. So this is what I would usually write, and it was just really documenting the day. And when I go back and read it, it brings it all back, you know. This is a bald eagle's nest that I found, and I sat under it and did sketching of the tree and the nest. This is a water moccasin. I was out walking through the swamp and found this water moccasin coiled up on a log, and so I painted it. It was really cold, so he didn't want to move, and so he was a perfect model.
Alexis asks, do you ever post these lives as videos so people can look back at them? Yes, all of our live streams are on our channel.
Yes, yep.
There's a whole playlist.
So this was a wild little mallard duck that we found just swimming in our river. He'd gotten separated from his family, so we raised it, and then a raccoon got it. So, poor guy. Baby duck. And the kids, it says here, this is a young mallard I found on the river 2 weeks ago. We take it out each day to swim in the kiddie pool, which it loves. This is where I did the sketches. It's growing very fast. We'll probably be able to release it in a month or so. The kids named him Baby Duck, but we never got the chance to release him, unfortunately. Yeah. Blue herons.
Yeah, I think you guys told us that it ran away.
Yeah, I told you it ran away. Yeah.
So you lied?
What's that? So I lied. Yeah. So this is the next year back in Alaska again. So you can see that was a year's worth of drawing. I didn't really use my sketchbook that much that year. That's the other thing. You know, I don't want to lie to everyone. I don't sketch. You know, I'll go through spurts of sketching a lot, and then, you know, I might not sketch for a couple of months, and then I'll come back to sketching again. But you know, over time, you can still fill up a lot of sketchbooks. And so this was Karen and I, Dustin's mother. We were driving across Alaska, and we would stop, and I would do little sketches along the way of the scenery and things that we found. This was a ferry that we took from Valdez, Alaska to Seward, Alaska. It was a 14-hour ferry ride. And so I did a lot of drawing sitting out on the deck, loons going by, and you know, the fog, very atmospheric, icebergs.
YouTube comment, tell Aaron Tyler Wildhorse says hello.
Hey, Tyler Wildhorse. That sounds Native American.
Tyler Wildhorse.
Yeah, didn't we have?
Yeah, he was on one of our.
Yeah, you were on one of our other ones. Yeah, I remember, Tyler. So here, I mean, this is it's such a simple observation, but that's a humpback whale coming up and spraying and then going back down again. Not much to it. Sea lion sitting on a buoy. Otter. So this painting right here, I ended up doing a 4 foot by 6 foot painting of this.
I remember that.
Yeah, I ended up selling it to a couple in Ohio.
Do you get the colors right the first time, or do you have to experiment with them?
No, I usually, you know, over time, when you're mixing and painting a lot, you get a sense of what to mix and how to mix it. And so nowadays I can pretty much nail it. And I keep rules for myself. I try not to mix more than 3 colors, 2 analogous colors, and then a complement to tone it down. And if you can keep it to that, you can keep your color selection pretty good. These are all kittiwakes that were nesting on this cliff. This is in Homer, Alaska, and out, you know, way out off the shore. I had a campsite. We were in this camper, and off the end of the spit, which is this piece of land that went out into the bay. And this is the island that was way out there. And we took a cruise out to it, and it was just full of all these seabirds, puffins and murres and all kinds of stuff. So I did tons of sketches of them while I was out there.
Is it possible to see your watercolor palette?
I don't know where it is right now.
Okay.
Yeah, unfortunately, no, not right now. I've got it stashed away somewhere, and I'm not quite sure where it is. This is actually the painting. So this is the big otter painting that I did. This is the thumbnail that I did for it. And that's the one that I ended up selling about 20 years ago. This also turned into a big painting, this sketch.
I like the elk on the previous page. That was nice.
Oh yeah, that's actually a caribou.
Oh, caribou.
Yep. It looks like they got the antlers are very similar. But yep, that's a caribou. Back in Florida, here we are, sketching seabirds. For a long time, Florida seabirds were my favorite subject to draw and paint, and constantly. And then sometimes, back before, working digitally, I would sit down and work out all my thumbnails. I'd come up with an idea for a painting, and I would sketch them in watercolor. And that's what these are. And sometimes they don't make it as painting. I never did this. I never did these up as paintings. This is back at the zoo. I can't remember where I was when I painted these. But these are all direct observations, quick sketches. More ideas for paintings. Paintings as ideas for paintings. These were elephant seals on the beach in near Big Sur, California. Right there, more elephant seals on here. And then peregrine falcons right here. This is in 95. It was a Jim Fowler from Mutual Omaha's Wild Kingdom. He came to give us a lecture and had these peregrine falcons. Then this is a sketch I did up in Canada, all over the place. Mooses.
Oh, Gordy.
Another fun stormy painting. This is a painting I did on the back porch of a friend's place up in Wyoming. And Tucker Smith, an amazing painter. But this is sitting out on his back patio and sketching the hills in this incoming storm. It was pretty cool.
How do you manage to catch the movement with the animals constantly moving?
Well, it's understanding anatomy first. And once you understand the anatomy, then a lot of times I lay down a very quick sketch, the gesture of what it is that I'm looking at, and then I sit down with my anatomy knowledge and fill in the gaps. So that was, I think, the end. So this is, I never finished this sketchbook. This is the last little entry right here. These little sketches here.
This is the end.
This is the end. The end.
You should go back and pick this book back up.
Do what?
You should just start this book again. Like, so a 30-year gap.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, exactly. So let me zoom in on this a little more. Whoops, I'm standing on my cord.
I think it'd be a fun challenge as far as like using watercolors go or something. Like going out in the field, but only bringing like 4 different like abstract colors.
Yeah.
Like limit yourself with a certain amount of colors, certain types of colors.
So this is a sketchbook that this was actually just sitting outside the studios in California in 2000. I went out to the park, the animation studios, and did some. These are actually pencil drawings, but this sketchbook I kept while I was. We were on a research trip for Brother Bear. And this is one of the sketchbooks I kept for our Brother Bear research trip. Lots and lots of little observations. One of the rivers in Yellowstone. This is mostly Yellowstone. Oh, there's some Alaska in here. But there's Old Faithful from August 6, 2000. So that's 23 years ago.
Want to let people know that joined late that we are having our biggest sale of the year over at Creature Art Teacher. We've got courses as low as $1, including Aaron's charcoal drawing courses, his pen and ink drawing courses. We've got animation courses for just $1. Lots are just $5, including his watercolor courses. Our Procreate course is just $5, and our Acting for Animation course is only $5. And you can get $100 off of membership, which gets you everything on the website, which is over 700 hours of courses now, or content now, for one low price, and everything is yours to keep.
Now, a lot of the times, I'm just sketching to gather reference for environmental stuff. So, these are some really great twisty trees that I thought would, be great observations and things to have in the movie. So, this is looking over the top of the falls at Inspiration Point. The lower falls at Yellowstone, the Grand Canyon of the Yellowstone. 309 feet drop.
That's a drop.
Yeah. Bison. I was standing on a little bridge looking up this river, and I loved all the tree shapes and everything, and so I just sat and sketched the trees. This is at Jenny Lake. So this is an interesting little section right here. So this is in Denali Park in Alaska, and we got a pass. And usually you have to take a bus, but we got a pass to drive into the park, and we were about 50 miles into the park. And we came to the Teklanika River. And there is this moose, and you can see the moose right here. And I sketched, it's hard to see, but there's right here, there's a wolf sleeping. And these wolves had been harassing, or hunting this moose for a couple of weeks. And the moose was injured, and so it was taking refuge in the river. And these wolves were just kind of waiting it out. So we sat there for quite a while, and then we left. And we went down the road. We hiked up this mountain because we saw some Dall sheep, which are right here. And I went up and sketched the Dall sheep, if you see that. So I went up and sketched the sheep on the side of the mountain. But then we came back, and as we were hiking up there, we came upon this mother grizzly and her 2 cubs. And we had a little bit of a standoff, but then she took off, and we didn't see her again until we came back down the mountain, and we went back to where that moose was, and the wolves had killed the moose while we were gone. And the mother grizzly that we had seen had chased the wolves off and had taken over the kill. So this was an earlier sketch I did of the moose with his injury to his leg. They had hamstrung him. And then we had left. And then coming back, this is the mother grizzly, one of her cubs, and that's on the carcass of the moose. And then this is one of the wolves standing there, and they're having a little standoff, looking at each other. And I was able to sketch all that from life. It was a pretty amazing experience to be able to see that. It's something you don't usually get to observe in the wild, is that kind of drama.
That's a gorgeous sketch.
Thanks.
Zelji has a question. How do your sketches end up in the hands of your filmmaking team? Do they get copies, or were the actual sketchbooks available?
Yeah, we put together packets of our sketches, and they became the inspiration for the environment design and that sort of thing. And it wasn't just me sketching; it was our art director, head of layout. We had a lot of guys there that were part of the trip, and we were all drawing, observing, and it's the pulling together of all the sketches. This, like for instance, this sketch, this one right here. I don't know how familiar you guys are with Brother Bear, but this sketch especially, this was sketched from life. And it's this big rock spire in this place called Savage River. And it's these valleys that go up on each side, and big, rocks and everything on either side. This became the inspiration for the bear hunt in Brother Bear. So all of these rock spires were our inspiration for creating all those rocks when Kenai's hunting the mother bear. And but it all started from us taking this hike. So that's those observations come in directly into the movie.
Twitch question. Your drawings seem to have so much confidence in them. Do you have any tips on how to build confidence and not make sketchy messes?
You just do it a lot. That's really what it comes down to. You do it a lot, and you'll get your what you see and what comes out of your hand will get tighter and tighter. They'll get more and more in tune to where you don't have to search. You look at it and you just draw it, and then you draw it and you draw it, and you just do that over time.
I also recommend try drawing in a ballpoint pen.
Yeah,
because
draw using an unforgiving medium. Ballpoint pen is actually pretty forgiving. People don't realize, but But once it's down, it's down. You can't erase. This was really cool. So this wasn't actually our plane. We were in a different plane, but this was another plane that landed. We flew up to near the base of Mount McKinley, Denali, the highest peak in North America. And this was a giant glacier landing, way, this is about 13,000 feet up. And so we landed our plane, and this plane was down the glacier a ways. And so I sat there and did a quick sketch sitting in the snow of these people in their Cessna. And these are the big shadows coming across the snow, as these big granite peaks went up. It was really, really amazing. Super cool. And then this is called Exit Glacier, and I couldn't possibly get it as blue as it was in front of me. It was so incredibly blue. But I was exploring all of this glacier that came down, and you could go under it and through it, and it was pretty amazing. And I love these tree shapes. But all this stuff, going into the Exit Glacier right here, that became the scene where Kenai and Coda hide under the glacier from Denali. But all of that reference that we gathered here became that sequence. And more observations.
Did you work on Brother Bear 2 at all?
No, I did not. Did not work on Brother Bear 2. And then this is a Sequoia National Park. So that was one of my sketchbooks I kept for our research trip.
I just got here. Has Aaron talked about when the sale on the site is going to end? No, the $100 off annual membership, that ends Monday. Some of the other courses will go longer than that, but act fast.
So this is in Acadia National Park in Maine. So this is probably 10 years ago. Little sketchbook I kept. This one is not full at all, but I figured I'd go through it really quick. Once again, my favorite sketching now is sketching in gray sketchbooks using white pens and ballpoint, or any other type of ink. And the landscape, the seascape at Acadia National Park in Maine, some of the most beautiful coastline, I think, in the world. And it's just really dramatic and really fun to draw.
That's one of the pull-offs right there, right? Driving up, I remember.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Yeah, I just love the fir trees, the pines there, and their shapes. I just did a couple. This is sitting on the airplane. I'm not sure where I was going. On the plane to Burlington. So flying to Burlington, Vermont, and I sketched the lady sitting in front of me. Just felt like drawing. Then this is just a random, I don't know what the heck I was thinking there, but just drawing. This is interesting because it's really faded. But I did this, I just made up this tree, but I did it with wild grapes that I found. I found these wild grapes on this walk, and I crushed them up and used the juice to do the drawing, and then I used white pen over the top of it. And at the time, it was fairly dark, but it's faded since then.
I remember when that's 2016, so that's fairly recent.
Yeah.
What brand of pen do you use for the white parts? Lots of the gel pens I use tend to get clogged quite often.
Yeah, Jelly Rolls. I use Jelly Rolls. That's jelly with a G.
They're Sakura Jelly Rolls.
Yeah, Jelly Roll, and I use the .08.
Right, because if you use too small, they get clogged.
They get clogged, yeah. This is going to the dog park. I just happened to grab this sketchbook and did a little page sitting at the dog park. So you just never know, That's all that's filled on that one. Let's pull some of these other ones. Some of them I haven't really shown before. Let's see. I've got piles of them. This is an interesting one. This one I forgot I had. I just found this. This is from 20 years ago.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, this is when we were living in Claremont, Florida. Let me pull out on this a little bit.
Old sticker photos.
So this is Violet, my bulldog, our bulldog. I did some sketches of her and then put some little stickers in there.
If you have seen the Miss Violet animation that we have on our YouTube channel.
Yep.
That's the real dog.
That's the real Violet. And also the inspiration for Yao in Mulan. Yeah.
And there's nothing you girls can do about it.
That's right. Yeah. This is our cat Maxfield. Just lots of there's Dustin sleeping.
How was it decided
What was
at
that?
How was it decided at Disney which art you could keep for your personal possessions and what art they kept?
Usually if it was done in sketchbooks and things like that, that was ours. It really depended on what we didn't. If we just kept it, we kept it. So there really wasn't a system. I mean, if it was done for production, then yeah, then it stayed with Disney. Horseshoe crabs, at the beach, sketched those. I was going through this thing. I was getting experimental where I had these little Polaroids, these little 1 inch by 1.5 inch Polaroids. So I'd take pictures of the subject that I was drawing, and then I'd put them in with the sketch. It was kind of cool.
Wasn't it a waterproof camera too?
I think so. There's my daughter.
Later.
Twitch comment, I highly recommend you all purchase the charcoal and pen and ink courses. They're only $1 each and they're full of great info.
What am I doing on the couch?
You fell asleep. You did an all-nighter. It says right here, Dustin pulls an all-nighter on playing video games. And you stayed up all night long and then you fell asleep on the couch like that. You were out cold.
Yep.
And there's your sister again. I did a little sketch of her.
Man, I haven't seen this in so long.
Yeah, the paper is terrible, but it was a cool sketchbook. This is in Hawaii, doing some sketches in Hawaii, sitting on the beach.
Oh, is this when we all were all there?
Yeah. That's all that one. See?
If you had to learn animation all over again, what books would you read to get you started? To be more specific, what would you learn first?
I wouldn't change a thing.
I'd go to creatureartteacher.com.
Yeah, exactly. I'd go right to creatureartteacher.com. I don't think there's much in this one at all, actually. This is more puffins, sketches of puffins.
Puffin.
There's Dustin sitting on the beach right there as a little kid. Yeah, sketching people at the beach. Oh, I know what this one is. This is in Paris.
Oh, is that when we went to Paris?
Yeah, this is the Orsay in Paris. Cool. So one of the sculptures that I sat and did a drawing of. But there's a really cool drawing, one cool drawing in here that I'd like, or two.
Catacombs.
Yeah, this is walking through the catacombs.
Yeah,
they didn't want us taking pictures, but I hung back a little while and let the group go ahead, and I sat and I drew this wall of femur bones and skulls.
Yeah, everyone in the group, sister, mom, dad, everyone had a choice for where we wanted to go each day, and so one of us wanted to go to the Eiffel Tower, so on and so forth, and I wanted to go to the catacombs.
Yeah,
so we ended up going to the catacombs, and the stairways down and up.
Yeah, it was way down.
Far down.
And it was literally, it's just this. They were dug during the Roman times, and after the graveyards started filling up, they started putting the bodies down in these catacombs. And over hundreds of years, it's just filled up with millions of remains. And you walk for literally miles through human remains, bones piled on top of bones. And it's pretty crazy. This is the Arc de Triomphe. Sat there and sketched that.
Arc de Triomphe.
That was an exercise in patience.
And I remember when we went to Notre Dame.
Yeah, exactly.
That was a fun trip.
Just different, more bird sketches. We were working on a film called Birds of a Feather, and it was about songbirds. And so I was just starting to do a bunch of sketches of songbirds.
Birds of a feather.
Yeah.
Who
Gulls.
is Walt Paraguay?
What's that?
Who is Walt Paraguay?
I don't
P-E-R-E.
I don't know.
G-O-Y.
I don't know.
Paraguay?
This is at the San Diego Zoo, sketching there.
San Diego.
More gorillas.
The San Diego Zoo, is that when we... No, that was years later, I'm sure.
That's
I
the
was
end of
thinking
that
we
one.
went with never mind. I'm drawing a blank.
Oh, this only has like a couple, but I like this one because my first trip to Africa, I did this sketch of this baobab sitting in this. This is in Tanzania, and we camped under this baobab tree, and I sat and did a sketch of it, ink and watercolor, and then I think that was the only sketch I did in here. That was it.
Yep.
Never did another one. But when I was pulling together sketches, I found the book and I went, "Oh yeah, I remember that."
Did you ever finish the Birds of a Feather film?
No, never did. We pitched it to Disney. We had a whole setup, and this is when Disney was changing management, the head of the studio, and the new head of the studio wasn't really wanting to do anything, and so we pitched it to him. We spent several months pulling it together, and they just shot it down. Never did
But
it.
they're like the
It was a great story.
Juliana on YouTube says, Aaron, please make a sketchbook course, landscape course. It would be awesome.
Yes, we will for sure. So this is just one of my sketchbooks that we had printed, and I was flying out. I think I was flying to Russia. I was flying to Moscow to give a lecture in Moscow, and so I just did a bunch of sketches sitting on the plane. And
We had printed one somebody did for us. I think somebody did that for us as a gift.
oh, okay, maybe that's what it was. Oh, Schoolism, yeah. Yeah, this sketchbook belongs to Aaron Blaze. Thank you for teaching at Schoolism Live London 2019. That's what it is. Yep, that was from Bobby Chu.
Bobby Shoot.
So here it is, 4 a.m., sitting at the JFK airport waiting for my flight the next day. With Barry Cook, director of Mulan. He and I were flying out there
Yeah,
together.
that was a crazy story. You guys got stuck.
Yeah, we got stuck, and then we had to find this hotel to crash in, and it was a real sketchy hotel, and then we had to make our way back, and yeah, it was crazy. And Barry lost his luggage when we got to Moscow. But these are all just bored, just sitting and sketching. En route to Moscow, and there it is right there, May 30th, 2019. Here we are. I drew a bear when we got to Russia. In Russia.
I think this might be a new viewer, but they said, can you please make a 2D animation course?
You're definitely a new viewer because we've got several 2D animation courses on our website. If you go to creatureartteacher.com, I've got an introduction to animation. We've got this, the scene approach, acting for animation. I've got quite a bit, all done in 2D.
Yeah, advanced animation is only $1 right now.
Yeah.
And we've got more coming all the time.
Lots and lots of little sketches here.
I think when you have a sketchbook, it feels like ballpoint pen tends to be your go-to more than
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah, ballpoint and I've got those steel tip or steel pens that put out some nice ink too. But ballpoint is pretty much my go-to. These are European crows that I was, or rooks. No, not rooks. European crows. I was drawing.
Martin has 2 questions. Have you ever drawn with a carpenter pencil?
Yes, I don't usually, but I have. Yes.
Yeah, Glenn Vilpu always uses one for sketching.
Yeah.
He says. And question 2: do you use Payne's Gray back then in your travel set?
No, not back then. I didn't. No, but I use a lot of Payne's Gray now. Red Square in Moscow. There it is.
Oh.
Sketch that.
Do you have a class that covers or perhaps touches on how much detail to put into a drawing? I find I struggle with how much is too much or too little.
No, I don't really have a course that talks about that specifically. It's really about whatever it is you're trying to get across. What's the mood that you're trying to get across, and the style and that sort of thing. So that's really a personal choice. Some of these sketches get really crazy weird.
I mean, you do touch on that in some of your drawing and painting courses in terms of, I was like that drawing. I think we made that one a cover
Yeah, we may have. Yeah.
for the sketchbooks we did. I think we did it. Anyway, I think in some of your courses you do touch on, okay, I'm going to leave this area more emphasized. And
Right.
I'm going to tastefully sort of let this fade away.
Yeah, I'll definitely,
And you talk through your thought process on that.
yeah, areas of contrast and interest and all that, I'll spend more time on, and the areas of less interest, I'll leave looser, and I think these are me. They look like me. Geez, I don't think I intentionally was making me, but looking at it now, they look like me. Lots of doodles. These, when I doodle, I tend to doodle these weird faces when I'm sitting on the plane and just drawing out of boredom.
Who animated on the Firebird sequence in Fantasia 2000?
I think John Pomeroy. I can't remember who else did.
That was the Paris studio, right?
Yeah.
Didn't they buy the Paris studio just to get them to work on that?
Yeah. The Britzy brothers directed it.
Right.
Who owned they owned the Paris studio. Just weird drawings.
Anna wants to know, Aaron, does your membership include any mentoring or getting feedback on work, ideas, etc.? It doesn't.
Not right now.
Not as of now, although that's something we're looking at adding in the future, and we are getting ready to launch a community Discord server for members where you can get community feedback from one another. And we also do these live streams twice a week, exclusive for members. And Aaron is working on his animated short film Snow Bear. So if you become a member, you get to see those as well.
Look at this. This is the Peckforton Castle Painting Group.
Oh, that's true. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, we had him sign the
And everybody
sketchbook.
signed my sketchbook. That's cool. I forgot I had this.
I didn't even know
did
you
too.
did that.
Yeah, there it is. That was the Peckforton. We did a watercolor class. We rented a castle in England, just south of Manchester, and we rented out the whole castle, and everybody stayed there, and it was pretty cool. Let's see. Here we are again. More water bird observations. This is a coot swimming away, and I just really got into the water and wanted to get that painted. More falcon sketches. Peregrine falcon. You can see it's just years and years and hundreds of drawings and paintings.
Definitely lots of birds.
A lot of birds. That was my favorite subject as a kid, was drawing and painting birds. And I've kind of carried that into my adult life.
This is 96, is that what that
96, yep, 96.
Detla says, a nice composition with the coop.
Thank you.
And Dennis Rydberg has a question saying, sometimes when I draw pigs with the structure, it leans towards a cow. Do you have any tips how to distinguish similar animals?
Well, it's really looking at proportion, right? So look at proportion, look at anatomy. Pigs and cows at first glance can have similarities, but when you really dig in deep, you're going to see that there's definite differences between the two, and it's a matter of finding those differences. I can't tell you any better than that.
How do you study animal reference? Do you draw almost every bone and muscle while learning anatomy?
No, I don't really get in. I think about muscle masses, but in case like these bison that I sketched, I was really looking at silhouette and shape and just trying to get some color down. So I sketched them in very quickly with a pen, but then focused on getting the value and the color of the fur, because of like in a bison, it can go from a very cool black, almost blue in the fur to warm oranges, and it's a very interesting transition.
I noticed that this is my own personal question, that as you showed in the other previous sketchbooks that of like the sea otter and the bear sketches that eventually turned into the bigger paintings that you made. There are also times when I've seen you use a photo you've taken out of the field as a reference.
Yes.
For your big paintings. What would you say your balance is between like a thumbnail that you drew on the field,
Right.
or using a photo that you took out there?
The sketch in the field is for me to get the feel and the anatomy in my brain. When I'm photographing, I use those for when I'm coming up with my compositions, textures, things like that. But I'll come up with, especially nowadays, I used to really depend a lot more on my photography in my younger years, but I don't so much anymore.
Because you got me around.
That's all right. No, but the photography is becoming more and more just a reference for textures and making sure the anatomy is more spot on. If I'm because a lot of times now I'm making up my poses and lighting and everything else.
Right.
Got a few questions here. I'm just going to rapid fire some of these.
Sure.
Who's your favorite character in Brother Bear?
My favorite character in Brother Bear is Tug or Grizz. I can't remember what his name ended up being.
Tug was in the full movie. Grizz was what it was during.
Okay, yeah. So Tug. He used to be Grizz.
Did you work on Bambi, the first movie, or Bambi 2?
I'm not answering that.
You should. It's a young person.
Okay. Gotcha. Well, first of all, the first Bambi was done in 1942. So I was born in 1968. So no, I didn't work on. And I didn't work on Bambi 2 either. No. Yeah, it's funny.
And what's your favorite cartoon when you were a kid and now?
When I was a kid, I loved Super Friends, the Justice League and all that stuff, the Incredible Hulk. And I loved. My absolute favorite was all the Warner Brothers cartoons. The Coyote and Roadrunner and Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck. All of those I just absolutely loved those. So these are all just observations done from life. This is sitting, Nick, if you remember when you go out of town in Jackson Hole, there's a little marsh off to the right as you go out of the town.
Yep.
And there's a little observation, like a dock right there. You can look at these are the geese sitting there.
Those are
in
Canadian
that little area, yeah. All these swan sketches, those are all drawn in that marsh area.
Do you think all Canadian geese are born in Canada, or do you think they get
They've emigrated and migrated? Yeah.
And it's funny is that looking back, I remember going to the Buena Vista Academy school that us and I used to go to. And I remember that there were always Canadian geese in the pond.
Yeah, always.
That was at the BVA. It was almost like they were almost like our mascots.
So I'm back in Alaska again. This is in 1999. This is my first trip for Brother Bear. I did 2 trips for Brother Bear, one in 99 and one in 2000. And so we rented, Tim Hodge actually was on this trip with me, along with a few other guys. And these are some of the sketches and little flower pressings that I kept along the way. Let me zoom out on this a little bit.
Real quick, how do you avoid subjects looking stiff?
By laying down a quick gesture first. I lay down the gesture and then I try to keep that fluidity and flow going through the final drawing. There's Chuck Williams.
By the way, if you're interested in Aaron's art, we have a new book that's up for pre-order over at creatureartteacher.com/books. The Art of Aaron Blaze Volume 2 is a hardcover book. Just had a meeting with the printer yesterday, as a matter of fact. Went really well. So we're hoping to start shipping in June is what we're targeting, subject to change. But if you pre-order the book, the first 750 pre-orders are guaranteed a signed copy, and you're also saved $30 off by pre-ordering. So creatureartteacher.com/books, and it's going to be full of, it's a 248 page book, 9x12 hardcover. It's gorgeous.
If you got the first version, it's just as full as that first version.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. So those of you that know Chuck Williams that teaches a few classes on our site, Chuck was the producer of Brother Bear. And so he was on this trip with me back in 1999. And we hiked up to this ridge, and he was sitting there taking a rest. And so I painted him. I did a little sketch of him sitting there.
Alina Randolph says, I joined in late. Did you share sketchbooks or drawings from when you were a kid?
No, I don't have any. I don't have any sketches from when I was a kid. Unfortunately, when I was in high school, our house burnt down. And so I lost all of my drawings and all of my stuff from then. So lots of landscape. You know, when I go out on these research trips, a lot of what I'm doing is just, random sketches of, I just gathered a couple leaves. Here's a sketch I did of the ground. I was just sitting there in a rock and I sketched the ground.
I shot the ground.
But look at, this, because it was a research trip. My sketchbooks are just full of notes, and actually more writing a lot of times than actual sketches.
It almost looks like a scientist research journal.
Yeah, but really a lot of writing. Here's some birch bark. This little squirrel. Actually, Tim Hodge took, when I was doing this drawing right here of this little squirrel, Tim Hodge, and he's posted it on Facebook, took a picture of me doing this drawing. And I'd like to get that photo. It'd be neat to have it here.
Tim, give me the photo.
But this one was always kind of a favorite of mine. This sketch. I just like the mood of it and the silhouette.
Ominous.
Yeah. Has a nice feel.
I feel like that's that's the background for the mystery figure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like the Fire and Ice, that one character from that movie.
Yeah.
That was always on horseback.
So this was McNeil River. So this is one of the highest concentrations of grizzly bears in the world. Every time I'd look outside, I never counted less than 13 bears. And here I was in the cabin, in the mess cabin, and I was looking out the window out into the, it's a tidal area because this is right along the coast. And I was watching this bear chasing salmon in the low tide zone. And so I just sketched it real quick. And so that's the bear. This is a mama bear and cubs that came up while we were sitting there.
How old were you when you drew the Florida wildlife coloring book?
You mean this one?
I
I was 18. So check this out. See that signature right there? That's Timothy Treadwell.
Nice.
Timothy Treadwell, Grizzly Man. Unfortunately, about 3 years after Timothy signed my book right here, he was eaten by a grizzly bear.
Unfortunate.
In this area, actually. For those of you that know the movie, the whole movie was about Timothy and his trip up there, and it's very tragic. But anyway, he came to our studio in the early days of Brother Bear and gave a lecture, and so I had him sign my sketchbook. When he came in my office and we hung out for a while. But some of these are very simple little sketches. This is a grizzly running through the water going after salmon, being chased by gulls, and it's just a quick little thumbnail, quick idea. You can see they're very, very quick and sketchy. Is that focused? I can't tell.
It's focused now. It took a minute.
Do you agree with how close Timothy used to get to the bears?
No, not at all.
How long?
That's what cost him his life and his girlfriend's life.
How long do you typically spend on your sketches?
Not more than 15 or 20 minutes. But these are all sitting at the falls, at the salmon run, and sketching the bears, catching fish. All of these are just quick little sketches of the bears catching fish, all wild grizzlies. This is back at the camp. Bruce Johnson, who was one of the guys on the trip with us, he was fishing. So I did a little sketch of him fishing, sitting out by the water. Brooks Falls. So if you guys tune in to the live bear cam,
which is at explore.org.
Explore.org, and they have a live from about August through November, you can see the bears catching salmon. And it's at these falls, Brooks Falls. And I just happened to be standing right where the camera is set up. I was standing there, and I did a painting from life there. We were there before the bears had gotten there, so there weren't any bears in the falls.
You should Photoshop one in and post.
Yeah. The Valley of 10,000 Smokes. This is a volcanic area that we went to in Alaska. a moose skull and antlers sitting on the beach.
That's what we used to call the parking lot behind my school, the Valley of 10,000.
Yeah, right. And once again, that's the end of that sketchbook. So I've got, I mean, I could. So for those of you for the person that asked earlier, this is to get my way through college. I freelanced as much as I could to pay my rent and buy food, and I didn't have, my parents weren't sending me money, so I had to work my way through. And so this is a job that I picked up. This lady was wanting to do a coloring book, and this is actually still in print. But I did all of it. This is all press type. This is back, done back in the 80s, and it was all ink, and I just did this little coloring book for her. You can see how yellowed this one is. This is an original.
You said they still print this?
Yeah.
Wow.
This is done in 1989. So I think I was 20 when I did this. It says it was done by award-winning wildlife artist. I think I won one award or something when I was in high school, but she called me an award-winning wildlife artist. Mr. Blaze grew up in Naples, Florida, where he began sketching wildlife at an early age. His love of nature and his dedication to conservation are reflected in his work. The artist is a graduate of the Ringling School of Art and Design in Sarasota, Florida. I hadn't quite graduated yet, but
You're getting there.
yeah. So there we are. All these little, for a coloring book, all these little Florida wildlife, Florida animals, turkeys, armadillos, otters, walking catfish, diamondback rattlesnake, wild boar, swallow-tailed kites. It just goes on and on. All on newsprint. But yeah, it was pretty cool.
I actually just posted a link to the coloring book in the comments. You can still order it off Amazon.
What else do we have in here?
It'd be funny for a future live stream. You should color in that coloring book.
Yeah,
Oh,
right.
yeah.
We'll order a copy and it'll just be you coloring.
Right. So let's see here. I might have to zoom out on this one. I'm not sure what's in here. This is drawing. Oh, in Africa. These are sketches I did in Africa. A hyena, cheetah, vulture. I didn't know if this was at a zoo or not, but no, this is a wild elephant.
Oh, that was a trip.
This is the trip you and I
I
took.
was going to say, yeah.
Hippos. I didn't do a lot of sketching on that trip. Maasai, quick sketch of a
Well, this is
Maasai.
the trip before
Before
mine.
you went, yeah.
Was it still at the tented camp?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. This is a female lion had made a kill. More
And by the
cheetahs,
time
the cheetah brothers.
And by the time I went, it was your guys' second time to that camp?
Yeah. Big lion. Lion. He's just lying around.
Someone asks, where and what time were you born?
I was born in Burlington, Vermont. I don't know what time I was born. I think it was like 2 or 3 in the morning.
It was February 17th.
Yeah, February 17th, 1968.
I think somebody wants to do your astrology chart.
Oh, there you go.
Question: what would you have done to help? Oh wait, never mind.
More
is there-
lions. Let me zoom in on these. Might be better.
Oh, I lost the question. Do you need a watercolor sketchbook to use watercolors, or can normal paper work for that?
Normal paper works sometimes. Watercolor paper is the best. You get more control that way. These are just little observations of animals in Africa. This is a giant bull that walked by us. A cheetah sitting under a tree, under a bush.
John says, "Happy belated birthday." Could be happy early birthday too.
I was going to say, you're getting far enough away from the birthday, so yeah. Well, thank you.
How many hippos did you see in the camp?
All of them.
All of them.
Lots and lots.
Yeah, I think when I was there, I would usually count maybe 10 at minimum, like 5, but then,
Yeah.
like at most, I think it's all like 15 or so.
Lots
And they're
lots
all
of
over
quick
the-
sketches like
everywhere.
this.
Benji, did you ever try watercolor on the gray paper sketchbooks?
Yeah, I did. I don't like it very much because it doesn't work very well. So I just keep on my gray paper. I just keep it. If you want to do gouache on the gray paper, that's better because it's opaque. But using watercolor on the gray paper doesn't work too well. At least not for me. If you want to tone something darker, yeah, it's okay. But just remember the color of the paper will darken the watercolor as well. Little sketches of observations here at home. Coming up with painting courses. Egrets. There's that. There. Oh yeah, I remember this one. So this hyena had killed this impala or the gazelle, and this guy was walking around with the gazelle's head in his mouth. It was crazy.
Brutal.
That was like the first thing we saw when we got there. I remember
Exactly.
We got, because I had never been to Africa, and this was my first trip. And, you know, you land, you come on this little, you know, looks like a plane from Indiana Jones, and you land on this dirt
Oh yeah.
strip. And so, like, I didn't quite know what to expect. And you see a bunch of zebra at first, but once we actually got past the herds of zebra, the first, like, wild thing I saw was that hyena carrying a gazelle head.
Yeah, it was
Like,
pretty.
wow.
Yeah, it was
We're
brutal.
really here.
It's like, welcome to Africa.
Yeah.
Oh, I got a photo of that moment.
Yeah. This blue heron caught a fish,
Yeah.
stabbed it. And I remember someone saying, blue herons don't impale their fish. Oh, this one did. He stabbed it right through the body. This was a fun drawing to do. Really took some time with it. This one I did back in my studio. I was using photo reference for this one. This wasn't done from life. It was a fun little sketch, a little snowy egret. And then this one right here was a cicada. I just had this dead cicada and I set it up on my desk and just and drew it. More geese. This is in Seattle. Sitting on the beach in Seattle, this lighthouse, and just sketching all the wood piled up on the beach and drawing architecture.
What animals were the beast from Beauty and the Beast based on?
Oh, there's a bison, ape, wild boar. Drawing dogs at the dog park. Dog pooping.
Duck poop.
Wild boar. At one time he was a mandrill.
Have you ever tried to enter the duck stamp competition?
Yes, I actually got a couple of those. I can't remember where they are. But yes, I did. And I've never placed or anything, but it was cool. So back in Yellowstone again. This is a wolf that had was feeding off of a bison carcass. It was way off in the distance.
That was our most recent.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
2021.
I got a shot of that.
Mother bear and her cubs sketched, from they're a long distance off. But sitting there, they were digging up roots and stuff.
I want to let people know that may have joined late. We have 3 new bundles on our website that get you up to 60% off or more on the courses when you buy them as a bundle. So we've got a new bundle from Ken Sfreduso, which includes his 2 courses on our site. A bundle from David Coleman that's got 3 great courses from Dave, who's an Emmy Award-winning character designer and story artist. And we've got a ZBrush bundle from Tony Cipriano that has everything from the basics all the way through sculpting anatomy, articulation, figures, how to design toys, and even 3D print ZBrush sculptures. So check those out. They're 60% off or more over at creatureartteacher.com. Those just came out today.
So much stuff.
These are back in Africa. This is our last trip to Africa right here.
What white pen or marker do you usually use when you're using tone
White
paper?
Jelly Roll.
Jelly roll.
Jelly Roll brand by Sakura. And actually Sakura is the no, it's Emoji. Yeah, they're in my bag that's hanging up right there on the right. Just take it off. Yeah, we'll do that. So this is the bag that I
Bring with you when
take.
you sketch.
Yeah, when I go sketching, I will go wide on this. This is called an Artie by Lilo Roche. I recommend checking them out. Go to liloroche.com. They make these custom bags. They're fantastic. So this is the bag that I take with me, and open it up. Velcro, and has all of my drawing gear. These are the Bimoji pens. I'm sorry, not Bimoji, Jelly Roll pens. Right here. So I keep all of my drawing utensils in there like so.
And it's a 0.08, you said, right?
Yep, 0.08. Here's the sketchbook right inside there. These are my latest sketches right here. These are the last sketches I did. This is at the at Gatorland. I just did these last week at Gatorland here in Florida.
Do you ever self-edit your sketchbooks by tearing out drawings that you feel aren't up to your standard?
No.
Are there any pros and cons of doing this?
No, it's up to you. If you don't want people seeing them, then tear them out. it's your book.
Tear them apart.
I just picked up the Art of the West magazine with your article in it. I'm looking forward to reading your interview. Do you by chance happen to know of any similar magazines or galleries that focus on the southeastern U.S.?
No, I don't actually. Yeah, it's hard to find stuff that doesn't focus. That focuses on Eastern type stuff. Let me get back to here.
I think it's just because the West is such
The West is dramatic,
and
and
it has such a place in American history. I think it's just.
so these are sketches. This is I go all the way to Africa to draw a lion in captivity. This is at a zoo in Nairobi. We were waiting until the next day to catch our ride out to the Masai Mara, and so we went to a little zoo in Nairobi while we were waiting, and I sketched this guy while we were there. More lions. Here, I've started getting into the ink brush pens. This is a Bimoji brush pen. They're very bold. I like the look of them. Some of these are. We get a sketch. I'd start to do a sketch, and all of a sudden, our driver would start driving. I'd go through all the, trying to open up my bag and get my sketchbook out. I find a pen, and then I start, and then he drives off. So I end up with a lot of half-finished.
That happened.
Not even half-finished, just.
Stops out. No.
Okay, yeah, that's it.
I remember hearing that a lot because we were sitting at the back of the cool kids. We sat at the back of the bus.
You're right.
And we'd be like, "Can you stop? Stop? No, you're not going to stop." Okay.
Exactly. A lot of these were done back at the camp in the evening. I would sit back at the camp in the evening and do these sketches from the photographs that we had shot. This is in Europe, when we went to Europe last year. This is in Austria. I did this sketch. Vienna. Vienna City Hall. Right there. Quick sketch.
Can't believe it's been a year already.
I know.
Hard to believe.
So if is Martin still on?
Yes.
Hey Martin. These are the sketches we did at the Natural History Museum. Martin Berger was there with us. These are all done from mounted animals, mounted birds. So we got a secretary bird and a shoebill, yellow-crowned night heron, eider, crowned crane.
Zonji asks, I wonder if that tower has a spiral stair.
So this is in Bruges. And while we were in Bruges, Nick watched In Bruges.
I watched In Bruges, In Bruges.
That's right. That's a beautiful city.
I actually waited to watch it until I was in Bruges.
Exactly. It's a great movie.
It really was awesome, and I was glad I waited to watch it.
Yeah. This is in Berlin.
And I think I watched In Bruges while you guys were in Bruges.
Yeah.
Though I wasn't in Bruges, I was here in Florida.
I think that's the end of that sketchbook. How about we do a couple of more and then we'll call it. What time is it?
It is 2:30. Well, 2:22.
Almost. It's almost 2:30.
Okay, so we've got an hour and a half. That's a lot of boring people with.
Well, people seem to be enjoying it.
So this is in Colombia, in Bogota, Colombia. We went up to Montserrat and I sketched the mountains on the backside. Montserrat in Bogota. There's this little old lady selling her wares. Did a sketch of her. Random, just sitting in my hotel rooms drawing because I was bored. And then here we are in Colorado. I'm just jumping all over the place. Some sketches I did in Breckenridge, Colorado. Sitting by a river. And then here I am in Virginia. The Virginia Zoological Park. Doing little sketches of animals at the zoo. More lions, but this is it. This is actually in Virginia. Smithsonian Institute. The Smithsonian National Museum of Natural History.
It's funny that lion drawing that you just showed a second ago,
Yeah.
because there's a delay on the thing, looks so much like the one that you did for Lion King.
Oh, yeah.
of
Yeah.
Chewie.
30 years earlier.
Yeah, it's a very. We should do it side by side. It's,
Yeah. Chewy, that's right.
Justin Kingston asks, are there still plans to make a book for your sketchbook images after Volume 2 releases?
Yes. Yes, we want to put together a book of sketchbooks. And that's actually what I'm super excited about. I mean, I'm excited about the new one coming out as well, but I've always wanted to put together a book of sketchbooks, drawings. These are seals. There's a grizzly right here and then a seal right here. Blue catfish. Look at the complexity of that bone structure. Sometimes I just sit down and this is a bunch of cattail reeds out in the swamp near my home in Florida here. I think Dustin sat and we documented this. He had a big drone flying around and filming me sitting here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this is a drawing that I did when we're doing that.
I think I still have the video on my YouTube.
Yeah, back at the dog park. There's Achilles right there with a big collie sniffing his butt.
Yep, here it is.
More bison.
Unlink.
So we must be back in Yellowstone again. We go to Yellowstone so much. Not sure what I was doing here. This is just some made-up bird of prey. Coming up with something there. Coyote. Puma. Cougar. So, People ask me about drawing from life. Sometimes I can't get out. So this is done from a live webcam at Brooks Falls, the one we were just talking about earlier. This is in July, actually. So July 13th of 2018, I just set up in my office and I turned on the live webcam and drew the bears live. They were in Alaska. I was in Florida, and I just drew them off the TV. There's Vedanta sleeping. This is when we were in Manila in the Philippines. And I did a little sketch of her on her phone. This is a fun little exercise in value, you know, the white of the sheets and everything. And it was a fun sketch to do. It's a random monument in Manila. Just another drawing in my sketchbook. Now we're out west. Pronghorn antelope. No, this is actually I did these drawings in South America. When you and I went to Chile.
When does your newest book ship again?
We are targeting June.
Targeting you.
Avocets and Willets. Lots and lots of drawings. This is in one of my drawing courses right here, I think. We use this one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So this is a sketch I did in Tokyo. I went out for a walk. I was there for Wacom, and I was doing some lectures there. And I got up early in the morning and took a walk out into this park and just sat down. There's these really neat stairs going up to this little sitting area. And so I just sat down and did a little sketch of it.
That walk path kind of reminds me of Mulan a bit.
And as I was sitting there, there was this young guy sitting across from me, eating his lunch in a little business outfit, business suit. And so I just sat and sketched him.
Did you show the man your drawing of him?
Nope. He got up and walked away before I finished it.
Uh,
Yeah, so he never knew that I was drawing him. It's a young guy.
What if he's watching the stream right now?
That would be cool. Lots of random drawings. Another sketchbook.
Someone says you can't just blow past that sassy rooster from earlier.
That sassy rooster.
the sassy rooster.
Rooster Cockburn. So this one's this is a sketchbook that I used when we remember I did the 100 drawings that we sold.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this one I used this sketchbook, so I've only got about 5 sheets of paper in here. But these are all sketches that I did in Yellowstone, just sitting doing tiny little thumbnails of bison out in the field.
And I think that was my first reference photography trip.
Yes, it was.
The original sketches were in this. We sold the original drawings at Lightbox back in 2019, but they've all been collected into a book called 100 Drawings. If you go to creatureart.teacher.com/books, you can get that book, or you can pre-order Aaron's brand new Art of Volume 2 book for $30 off, and the first 750 people get a guaranteed signed copy. But the 100 Drawings book is all pen and ink drawings, lots of just these sorts of sketches. Well, not these sorts.
Yeah, but this is a black bear we came up on, and I just sat and did piles of sketches of them. So there's that. What else have we got in here? This is another one of my research trips. Everest beer. We're in Nepal. Africa. This is all Africa. Once again, because I'm on a research trip, I'm taking lots of notes. Back to Africa again.
Erica Bay says, I have some of your inked bison.
Oh yeah, you do. This is ink and watercolor. That's right. Erica's got a few of my drawings. Yeah, yeah. The bison where I drew those from life out in Jackson Hole. This
Do you have
is
any-
sitting on the beach in Hawaii, sketching the waves.
Do you have any favorite memories working on Brother Bear?
You know, being out doing the research trips and being out in McNeil River is probably my favorite part of all that, where all the grizzlies were.
Don't forget the research video that you guys
Yeah.
put together, and the one shot where Chuck falls over. You just go, nice.
Yeah.
Or no, it wasn't nice. It was, what was that?
Right, that's right. So once again, just lots of little observational sketches. We went up to a place in Montana that had all these little wild animals, and so they brought them out for us, and we sketched.
Oh yeah,
These are kind of hard to see. I don't know how well are they showing up okay?
they're showing up.
But all these little foxes and coyotes and
And I think I have a photo album of them on my Facebook page in my photos,
yeah.
showing the photos that I got from that moment.
But this is, I mean, I filled this sketchbook in a day. Just doing
Oh yeah,
tons. I was cranking.
you were cranking because I was doing all the shooting.
Yeah, it was so nice, you know, having Dustin there to shoot the photos, because usually I got to jump back and forth between shooting the photos and drawing, so I don't get much drawing done. But
Yeah.
Dustin was photographing for me, so I got to draw and draw and draw.
Yeah, it was definitely a unique experience because it was my very first time doing something like that, because I was just getting into photography in the first place. I was only
Yeah.
at it for a few months at that point, if not even. And it was really an eye-opener for me, because like I got the photography bug, and I'm just trying to shoot away with the cheap camera that I got from Best Buy, and then
Yeah.
being there with Manny and especially Greg Beecham, who's an amazing artist himself, but he has a more higher end camera gear in it. And I'm sitting there with my little click, 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 and then he's in the sideline right next to me going, "Brrr." It's like,
Now, one of the things I want you guys to see is, if you were here at the beginning of the stream when I opened up my first sketchbook from 30 years ago, there's a huge difference between those observational animal sketches that I did to these. You know, over the last 30 years, I've learned so much in the way of animal anatomy and getting it into my art and getting it down accurately. And so this is an example of just showing, you know, if you spend enough time working at it, you get better at it. You just do. You learn. And it just takes time.
do you ever give up on a sketch because it just doesn't look
We
right?
should do
Yep,
that.
all the time.
We should pull out go back to your very first sketchbook and compare a page of that to a page of your most recent sketchbook.
Yeah, actually, that's not a bad
Put
idea.
them side by side.
You know, if we go, where's the one I just had?
Or you've got the Ringling College pieces, the Xeroxes. Those were also pretty early, right?
Yeah. Those are, they're over here. So, yeah, these are just super sketchy and I don't know. It's
Super loose.
this. I've shown this one before, but I like showing it again. This is I kept this one back in 2002, so 21 years ago. But this is a little travel sketchbook that I kept when we went up to Maine. Doggone it, I keep stepping on my microphone.
You all right?
I'm good. So these are watercolor and ink up in Maine, once again in Acadia Park. And this is our little family vacation that we took, but I brought all my little painting set with me and just did all these little watercolor seascapes while we were there. And July of 2002. They were a lot of fun to do. They bring back some great memories. There's that shoreline, that amazing shoreline.
Was this the sketchbook when you were doing the painting or a sketch and
You guys were swimming?
either we were
Jumped in
swimming
the-
or I think Austin was like on the top of one of the rocks.
Yes,
and
exactly.
She thought you were drawing her,
Yeah.
so she stood still for a long time.
Yeah, I wasn't drawing her. Had her well trained though. Lots
Is this that
and lots.
sketchbook?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was this where is it? This sketch right here.
Oh, that.
Yeah, when I was doing this sketch, she thought I was drawing in a completely different area. So this is actually later. Now this is in Catalina, in California. Did a little sketch when we took a family vacation there, and I was just sitting on the beach, sketching there. And then here's a drawing I did back in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. You can tell we bop all over the world. We have a good time.
Twitch question: how would you explain the way you choose the pose of a sketch from life? You can't just pause at the moment you want, right? Not sure if I'm explaining that properly.
Well, a lot of times what I'll do is I'll sit and I'll observe for quite a while, and then I'll start to draw the gesture of a pose that I may have seen that I like, and then I'll just keep looking at the subject matter in order to fill out the pose. Other times I'll just be really like when I was drawing all those little animals, the young animals. A lot of times it's just looking at them and shooting down a quick gesture, looking up, shooting down a big gesture, looking up, and doing that over and over again.
Cadillac Mountain is the first place to get sunlight in America every day.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. So let's just do one more here.
What travel painting kits do you recommend? You use
The Cotman Field watercolor
by
set
Windsor Newton.
by Windsor Newton. Yep. So this is a little leather-bound sketchbook that I got in China when I was there.
Zoom out a little bit.
Oh, zoom out? Oh, yeah. I got to zoom out. So there goes your alarm again. Sorry, everybody. I really like this because it's kind of thick cardboard is what the pages are. They're just nice to draw on. These are just quick little observational sketches I did of Vedanta, my wife.
Are there any kinds of paper that pens like ballpoint or any of them tend to struggle on?
If it's really smooth paper,
Paper?
it doesn't work very well. So I like paper that has a little bit of tooth, a little bit of grab to it.
Kind of like that. This particular paper that
Yes.
you're showing.
Exactly. Bunch of chickens. Look at all those chickens. These roosters were walking around, and I had to draw the roosters. When I was a kid, we raised. I had at one time I had over 200 chickens, and I was always out feeding the chickens. So I like drawing them.
Achilles.
My dog Achilles. Yeah.
Oh, Doug.
Yeah, some of these are quick, just like grab a brush pen and just really quick jot down a really fast gesture.
What would you say was like your fastest sketch? Like
I don't know.
2 seconds?
Yeah, that one that I did in 2 seconds. Another one I've got all these pages I got to fill still.
Still got more to go.
Still got more to go. And we've got, there's still more in here, but I think we're going to call it. That pretty much covered the ones that I pulled out today. I've got more that we didn't go through, but I hope you guys enjoyed that. I really do. It's fun to kind of go through and go through the history of your art and through your sketchbooks. You know, especially at my age when you start hitting your 50s and 60s, and you hang on to those sketchbooks. I really recommend it, especially for you young artists out there. Continue to fill your sketchbooks and hold on to them because they become, it's like looking at photo albums, right? We all love looking at old photo albums. Well, your sketchbooks are the same thing. They give you the same satisfaction. I would argue even more satisfaction because you can see your growth as an artist, but you also remember, you know, when you're sitting and you're drawing observationally, you're really soaking in the world around you. And so it helps you remember more vividly those times when you were sitting there doing those sketches. But you want to go over the sales one more time before we go out?
Absolutely. For people that just joined or joined late, I want to let you know that we are having our biggest sale of the year over at creatureartteacher.com. We've got animation courses and art courses as low as just $1. Basically, you can get our advanced animation course for just $1. How to paint light is 85% off. Tons and tons of courses, animation, drawing, painting, sculpture, traditional media, digital media, all for their lowest prices ever. And our annual membership is $100 off, which gets you everything on the website. And that ends Monday. The price goes back up Monday on that.
So many to choose from.
And if you want to go ahead and pre-order our Art of Aaron Blaze Volume 2 book, the first 750 orders of that get a guaranteed signed copy. Just had a meeting with the printer yesterday, so that is moving right along. We are on target, I believe, to start shipping in June is the goal.
Stay on target.
And head on over to creatureartteacher.com and check out what we've got. That's my spiel.
Yeah, and then the other thing too I mentioned earlier is Tony?
No.
Okay. Well, the other thing I was going to mention is, you know, become a member over at creatureartteacher.com. Not only do you have access to over 700 hours now, I think, of our, content, art and animation education. But, one of the reasons we went to just once, the first Friday of every month doing our live stream like this is because I'm trying very desperately to finish Snow Bear. And I need more time to do that. So what we've done is we've opened it up to do twice weekly live streams as I'm making Snow Bear. So if you become a member, you can join me as I'm working in the studio, and it's like a little animated filmmaking class. And
we're actually streaming more than we ever have been.
Yeah, actually, we are. Yep. And we have a great community, a great bunch of people that show up, and we talk about a lot of different things. But I'm also teaching, animation live and how to put together a film. So it's a really fun time. And like I said, we get to do this twice a week. So they're going to see the entire process of making this 10-minute film that we're creating. But other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed yourself today. I enjoyed sharing my sketches with you. And I hope you go out and have a wonderful weekend. Have a great month if I don't see you again until the next live stream. And like I always say, go on out and create some art, put some beauty back into the world, make somebody see the world in a different way. And with that, I will sign off and say have a great weekend, and I'll talk to you next time. Thanks.
Cowboy Bebop. Bye.